little things. I can remember one instant, he set a booby trap. This is what Darren said. And what he actually done was put crumbs of Weetabix around the back of the bin where it wasn't visible to the naked eye, really, to be honest with you. And then Darren said to me, "You haven't actually hoovered here today." And there was a massive row over that then, because I hadn't hoovered these crumbs up which weren't visible to the naked eye. So that was one thing that I can really remember, which was really absurd. There was other controlling aspects where I couldn't wear anything that was low cut. I couldn't wear skirts. If it was a skirt, it had to be below the knee. Even like my hairstyle, Darren hated long hair, and he even used to control that. You know, I couldn't have my hair cut short. Yeah, being a hairdresser, obviously, you get both genders of clients, but I was specifically told once I passed my training that I wasn't allowed to cut a man's hair, which I thought again was just really crackers, really. You know, it was going to be my bread and butter, you know, that was my income, but I wasn't allowed to cut a man's hair. I can remember one incident that my old boss actually reminded me about, and that was when there was a gentleman that came into the hair salon to have his hair cut, and there was nobody available to do it other than myself. And my boss, Fran, said, "Rachel said you're going to have to do it." And I'm like, well, you know that Darren could come anytime and, you know, come into the salon and see what I was actually doing. There was a station that was free in the corner of the shop, right in the corner of the shop. So I said, okay, we'll use this chair. So I had to cut this man's hair, and she ordered the junior staff to actually do a circle around this gentleman just in case Darren had driven past, or, you know, somebody had gone past and actually seen that I was cutting a man's hair, and this is my employer. And looking back on it now, I mean, at the time, you know, it's like, oh, you know, the things you've got to do not to sort of get into trouble. But looking back on it, it's absolutely nuts to think that you're working in a salon. You know, this is your job, and your boss, knowing as well, had to put the juniors around this gentleman, you know, to block him from view of the road because I was cutting a man's hair. It was absolutely absurd. I think for me, it was, if I didn't do what Darren had set out for me to do and give his orders, obviously there'd be consequences. You know, there could be a massive row, it could have escalated, you know, could have ended up being spat at, my hair pulled, strangled, you know, you name it. So it almost become normal day life, and you accept it because you just play it down because you don't want the hassle of there being trouble. So it becomes normal. And you just normalise it. Yeah, that was another time we were on a flight, and I'd worked myself up about flying because that was something. Darren used to hate flying, so I sort of become almost like him. And we sat on the plane, and I'd ordered drinks for everybody. And because the lady was giving me the drinks quicker than I could pull the tray down, I could see Darren glaring at me because I wasn't moving fast enough. So I sort of paid for the drinks and put the money on my lap, pulled the tray down quickly to get the drinks off the air hostess, and sort of like pass them around as well. And then I fell asleep, and then I can remember waking up, and we'd landed, and we were all rushing off, you know, to get off the plane. And as we were coming out to the airport, we got out a suitcase, and we were walking to the car park to go and get our car hires, our cars. And I can remember all of a sudden this dread just rush at my body because I just realised that I hadn't put the money back in my bag. So I quickly looked in my bag, and the money, as I suspected, wasn't in my bag. So we sort of run back in quickly to the desk, said to EasyJet, listen, you know, we need to start, you know, if the plane's still there, can we check the money's on there? I definitely know it's on there, but the plane had already left. So then you had the dread then of telling Darren, because he didn't realise what we'd gone back in for. So we came to at the airport, and I said, listen, I left the money on the flight, don't worry, we've got insurance. Well, there was absolute murder. I was spat at, I had a bottle of water chucked at me. I was called all the stupid bitches under the sun, and this was in the middle of Mercier Airport when we were getting the hire car. If Dan wasn't happy, the house wasn't happy, and it's got a knock-on effect with me then, and then the kids. So it's just easier just to do as you're told, because it's just more peaceful. Because you never knew what sort of mood he'd come in. You almost become like a human pacifier, like a dummy to a child. You're constantly soothing them. You become almost like a parent, because they are like a child. I used to joke and say, I got 3 children, Darren being the biggest. You almost become like a mother to them as well. So you're just constantly doing everything you can to pacify them. It's almost like having a real disruptive, angry kid all the time, and you just go along with it because it's just easier to go along with it.